안녕하세요. 저는 건 리차드라고 합니다. 이번 김태현 대해서 이야기를 하고 싶습니다. 김태현은 한국 사람의 가수입니다. Anyway, so hello everybody. I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. This time I spoke out Korean language, but actually, so of course that is a meaningless. Anyway, that is really a so elementary level of Korean language. And what I said is hello, and I'm Richard Gon, and so this time I'm going to talk about Miss Kim Tae-yeon, and another one is so Kim Tae-yeon is a South Korean singer, which is what I said in Korean language. Of course, my pronunciation is really bad. My pronunciation of Korean language is really bad, so which is why even though some native speakers of Korean language hear what I have just pronounced, maybe they can't understand what I spoke out, because my pronunciation of Korean language is really harsh. Anyway, so as I told you, this time I'm going to talk about, anyway, so there's a South Korean singer whose name is Kim Tae-yeon, or the first name, her first name is Tae-yeon, and her family name is Kim. And so as I told you, she's a female singer. And this time, so maybe I frequently digress, but actually this time I think it's fine to tell you the title as a conclusion of this episode. The title is Tae-yeon Kim has a standardized beauty, doesn't she? Part 1. And the conclusion is she was popular as a member of Girls' Generation, but she's a great singer by herself. And so this time, so I think she's beautiful among that once popular girls group named Girls' Generation. So if you are, for example, if you are in your 20s, you may not know who the people of girls, or what Girls' Generation is. So you may not know if you are young. And Girls' Generation was once popular in 2010s. In 2010s, they grew, or they became popular, and that is a Girls' Generation is a group of South Korean singers and dancers, or South Korean celebrities, and they are women. And anyway, the Girls' Generation is a girls group of Korean celebrities. Anyway, and they perform in the ways of singing and dancing, or simultaneously or simultaneously. And among those members of Girls' Generation, my favorite member was Yuri Kwon. There's such a woman who is a member of Girls' Generation, and I loved Yuri Kwon the most. But actually, so thinking about the physical beauty, or thinking about the beauties of appearances. So Kim Tae-yeon is one of the most beautiful members among the members of Girls' Generation. And in the case of my country, many people love Yuan is popular in my country. Or Yuan was maybe she was popular in my country, but I think she is still popular in my country. And maybe so this is what I heard, but South Korean people, many South Korean people liked Yuri Kwon better than other members. She was the most popular member among than other members of girl generation in her own country, I mean. And this time, but actually, so this time I'm thinking of talking about Tae-yeon Kim because she's thinking about the performance of artistic field. So I think her singing ability or her ability or her performance as a singer is really great. So it's really difficult. It's really difficult to explain verbally because so it's if you hear her singing or if you hear her song sung by her, I think if you have some artistic knacks or artistic talents or artistic educations or if you have some kind of hobbies or some kind of how should I say what else should I use anyway, so if you are familiar with music or the field of music, I think so you can understand her that you can understand that her singing level or the level of her performance as a singer is really high. I'm sorry for my complicated and clumsy explanation. And by the way, I'm a Japanese person, so my mother tongue is really close to Korean language. But actually, to start with, Korean language and my mother tongue is really far. And it is, some people say, or this is, I have read a book titled Guns, Jumps and Steel. Guns, Jumps and Steel is that famous book written by Mr. Jared Diamond, and according to that book, my mother tongue was influenced by Austronesian languages, but Korean language was influenced by Chinese language. So and that it is said that that language is close to Tamil language, or Tamil language has similar words to Korean words, and I mean they are not identical, but actually those two languages have shared vocabularies, and those which are elementary ones, which is what I read. By the way, so the meaning of standardized beauty is, so she has a face without some convex or concave parts, which means, so this is a case to the faces of white people, but actually, so in the case or taking a look at the facial structures of white people, they have concave eyes. So if you point out that people have holes in their eye sockets to start. If you may say that so eye sockets are holes in which sense all the people have concave parts in their own eyes. So I understand what you're saying, but actually, so taking a look at some faces of East Asian people, so their faces do not have convex parts or concave parts, except for I mean nose and lips, and in some cases their cheeks. And apart from some people with different types of faces in East Asia or in East Asian faces, so, or in the variation of East Asian people, so many people have plain faces. Many East Asian people have plain faces without any concave parts in their own two eyes, which is what I'm saying. And Miss Kim Tae-yeon is not an exception. So which means she has plain face. She has a plain face, and she doesn't, not say, but she doesn't have concave parts in her own eyes. So in such a case, and in the case of, for example, white people, and this is. So I think this is a case of my country, but actually, so in the case of my country, some Japanese people like some. By the way, my country is Japan. My country is Japan. Anyway, so in the case of the local people in my country, they like a type of faces close to white people, because the local people of this country like white people, which means, so some people like, of course, some people like white people, and some people like Japanese people, some people hate foreigners, including white people. But actually, so thinking about the not the classification, thinking about the how should I say, so not sensible population, but actually, so dividing or categorizing the entire population of this country into such populations, like, this population likes white people, and this population likes the same people as Japan, which means Japanese people, and this population likes, or this population hates, for example, foreigners, including white people, or there are some people who hate foreigners, but actually white people are fine, because white people have created the rules, or the systems of the entire Earth, or this entire planet. So anyway, but actually, so the population liking white people is really huge in this country. So in which sense, so this country has such kind of preference in the appearances of, for example, celebrities in my country. Anyway, so which is why, so some white people or mixed people with white people are really popular in my country. And by the way, so Kim Tae-yeon, who is a person, who is a singer I'm talking about, and she performs as a singer, not as a member of that group, girl generation, and she has created many songs, or she has created, maybe she has even now she creates songs, I think. And among her songs, I love You Are, which is the name of her song. And in this time, I'm thinking of introducing some lyrics without her permission. And at first, I thought I could describe the meaning of the lyrics of this song, but actually, so I realized that my Korean level, or the linguistic level of Korean language, my linguistic level of Korean language was really low, which is what I noticed. So, but actually, I can introduce some beginning part and the main part of this song. So the beginning part is俺と내 마음에 그림값 같은 비가 내려 따스한 햇살 비추길 간절히 바래줘. I don't know whether this infringes her copyright or not, but actually I have sung. Maybe I have sung, which is my understanding, and its meaning is, so wait a moment please. Its meaning is I'm looking for the translation, but actually I found. So for a long time in my heart, full of clouds, it rains. For warm sun to shine, I sincerely hoped. Did I say that? 간절히 바래 따스한 햇살 비추길 간절히 하리수 간절히 바래줘. 오케이, wait a moment please. So actually, truth is I'm better at Japanese language, and that is not only because I'm a native speaker of Japanese, but also my language is really close to her language. So anyway, that is what I have just told you is a translation of the Korean part I have sung, and the main part is, wait a moment please. So I'm going to sing using Korean language, and of course my pronunciation of Korean language is really foul or harsh. 'Cause you are 내게 내린 비가 you are 너무 고운 꿈과 일곱 빛으로 온 세상을 더 아름답게 물들여 언제나 yeah you are. And by the way, this is mixed with English words. And cause you are is cause you are because of you, which is a meaning of, which is its meaning, cause you are because you are. And anyway, translation: cause you are the lights that fell on me. You are like a beautiful dream with seven rays. The whole world is dyed even more beautifully always. Yeah, you are, which is a translation of that Korean part. Anyway, so telling you the summary of this song. So that means you are great. You are great is the summary of the entire lyrics of that song. You are the title of the song I have introduced you. I have introduced to you is you are. I'm sorry for my mistake. I'm sorry for that grammatical mistake. And to start with, maybe I have made many mistakes in this episode of my podcast. So I'm thinking, I'm thinking of ending this episode of my podcast, and I used a website, so I'm going to paste this link onto the description column of this episode. Wait a moment, please. By doing this, I don't forget creating the episode of my podcast, and I'm going to end this episode. And the title is Tae-yeon Kim has a standardized beauty, doesn't she? Part 1. And the conclusion is she was popular as a member of Girls' Generation, but she is a great singer by herself. So this is part 1, which is because I'm thinking of talking about her. I'm thinking of talking about this South Korean singer in other times, or in sometimes later. After this episode, so thinking which is why, so I added the words part 1 onto the description column of this episode. So this is in this episode. This is all. So but actually, so I think you can get another episode or other episodes in which I'm going to talk about, in which I'm going to talk about, or I will have talked about that South Korean singer. So that's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you, and 감사합니다. And so also I'm going to talk about Girl Generation, or so specifically speaking, I don't know whether the words specifically speaking are correct as English language or not, but actually, so not this time also, but actually, so anyway, this time the topic is Girl Generation, or the topic is Miss Tae-yeon Kim, or a member of that Korean girls group, Girl Generation. The Girl Generation is the name of that the Girl Generation is a name of a girls group composed of Korean female dancers and singers, which means, so why I said dancers and singers is they are dancers and singers simultaneously. So which means they sing while they are dancing, which is dancing and singing are done simultaneously, simultaneously by those groups, or by the not by those groups, or by the girls of girl generation. The girl generation is, as I told you, girl generation is the name of a group. I'm sorry for my complicated explanation, but actually, so I speak English for the first time in this week. So which is why, in the past week. So which is why, so I need some kind of lubrication for making me get used to speaking the English language. So in short, so using a short term, or using a task expression. So practice is what I need. So which is why, so this time, so I intentionally digressed in the beginning of this episode of podcast. So this time, so and here I'm going to introduce the topic, and the topic is correct, but actually, so I don't know whether you know this, but actually, so I always use the words title and the conclusion of an episode of podcast, which means, so what I'm going to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. And the title is Tae-yeon Kim has a standardized beauty, doesn't she? Part 2. This is a part 2, so part 1 has already been recorded, and maybe I haven't. So I'm recording this episode in the beginning of September in 2022, in which the Russo-Ukrainian War has been prolonged, or the Russo-Ukrainian War has lasted The war has lasted still. That war, or that Slavic war, is an ongoing one, and essentially, not there, but actually, in maybe America and other Western European countries decided to give Ukraine more money and more advanced weapons. So which is why, so which is why, well, how should I say? So those weapons of high technologies pilot or created by Western European countries and America are really effective. Or those weapons given by America and other Western European countries said to be, or seems to be effective in fighting, and in battles against Russian troops. Such a things are written on the online news I frequently read. So I frequently read news about Russo-Ukrainian wars, or that Slavic war taking place between Ukraine and Russia. Belgians are Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus, which is on the side of Russia. But actually, maybe Belarusian people do not want to fight against Ukraine people, but actually, not Ukraine people, but Ukrainian people, and maybe Belarusian people want to fight against Russian troops, maybe because they feel sympathy or some kind of intimacy to Ukraine and the sympathies or intimacies are stronger compared to those toward Russian people. That is those sympathies and intimacies are what Belarusian people would feel, which is what I'm talking about. But actually, so this is not the central topic, or this is not the main track of this episode, and I almost forgot to tell you the conclusion of this episode. The conclusion is, she was populous. It's not she was populous. Populous is like a New York. New York is a popular city. So conclusion is she was popular as a member of girls' generation, but she's a great singer by herself. And so here comes the main track. Here comes the main track of this episode, and I pasted the link on the description column of this episode, or I wrote the link on the description column of this episode. So I may additionally write other links into the description column of this episode. Maybe I'm thinking of writing the link of part one of this having the same title, or having the same title, and that, of course, those part one and part two have different titles each other, because the word part one, the word part two are different, but other titles are the same, word by word. And this time, what I'm going to talk about is adult content I created using Miss Tae-yeon Kim as a model, or as a protagonist, which means, so maybe you do not understand Japanese language, so which is my speculation. So so the truth is, some European people can understand some Japanese language. Of course, European people want to study other European languages, which is what I have heard of, and which is what I know. And in the case of American people, they do not study foreign languages. But actually, so there are still some group, I don't know. But actually, there are some people. Truth is, there are some people in reality who study Japanese language or other Asian languages in European countries, and those people who study Japanese language. So the people I'm talking about are Caucasian people or white people. Some white people understand, and some white people are able to understand and able to speak Japanese language, and able to communicate with others using Japanese language. And some white people can talk with the local Japanese people by using Japanese language, which is, there are such people. But actually, apart from such people, so most European people do not understand Japanese language. So which is why, so I'm thinking of telling you what kind of adult content it is. So the story is about content creation. Content creation is what I used as one of the materials of that adult content. And in that adult content, I wrote stuff about creating content, or the branch of business creating content, which means, so there's a platform, there's a Japanese platform named Note, with which you can monetize each content. Of course, it's possible to upload contents without charging, or freely, or you do not have to sell those contents. But actually, you can sell contents like, so you can, so the image is like, so you create, and you first create an entire content, and so what you can show is the beginning part. It's the beginning part of that entire content, and the rest of the content is hidden because because that content is charged, and you can set the price of each content. So such a thing is possible by using that platform our country has. By the way, I'm a Japanese person, and my mother tongue is Japanese language, which is why I'm really bad at speaking English language. So I think you can easily understand that I'm a non-native speaker of English language, and I don't know whether you could speculate, or you could find out, or you could specify the fact that I'm an East Asian. Maybe I think there are some people who can detect, or who can correctly find out that I'm an East Asian person. Anyway, so I used content creation because the content creation, which is a branch of business, which is a branch of many business fields, is really popular in my country. So I used the business of creating contents for making money as a material of that content. And another material is Miss Kim Tae-yeon, and I used her as a model, or as a protagonist of that adult content without getting her permissions, or without getting her approval, so without getting her agreement for my using herself in that adult content. So in which manner I created this adult content, and so how to access that adult content is that, as I told you, I wrote a link, and through which, or by clicking which, you can visit that online adult content. But actually, so you do not have to be worried about this, because that is because the majority of the listeners of my podcast are American people. American people is the majority among the listeners of my podcast, and so recently there are other people who maybe live in Asian countries and African countries, and recently maybe West European people do not frequently listen to my episodes. Or of course, so maybe if you live in Western European countries, but actually, so among many Western European countries, some European countries, the local people of some European countries are good at English language, and so there are other local people living in some for other Western European countries. And for example, so people using Romance languages are not so good at using English language. So anyway, so I don't tell you the details about that. So, but actually, so among many people using Romance languages as their dominant languages, or as their mother tongues, Portuguese people are really good at using English language. That is because maybe the economy of that country is declining. So which I think is why, of course this is my speculation, which I think is why the local people in Portugal study English language so hard. So which is why the average proficiency of the local people in Portuguese is really high compared to other local people in other European advanced countries. Anyway, but actually, so Germany people, for example, Nordic peoples, or like Swedes or Swedish people, or Finn people, and other people, for example, they are not Nordic people, but actually, so Dutch people are really good at English language, and German people are good at English language, and such Germanic people people have higher proficiencies of English language, and so which is why. So what was I talking about? Proficiencies. I was talking about whether you should be worried about by accessing the adult content or other adult contents I created, because I'm an adult content creator in my country, and I create adult content as a side hustle or as a side business for making allowances or for making sort of money actually. And anyway, but actually, if you do not read, if you can't read Japanese language, there is no worry in accessing that web page. And to start with, that web page is a decent one. So which is why, I think there is no worry in getting computer viruses into your computers. I don't know whether not which is the name of a Japanese platform. It's a decent platform. So which is why, I don't know whether, but actually I don't know whether not has troubles in computer viruses or not. But actually, so not to start with, not is a decent one, not specific to adult content. So which is why, so I think you can easily access that web page, and including the platform. Anyway, so it's just you encounter some many articles written in Japanese languages, and other topics. There's nothing to Miss Kim Tae-yeon. Miss Kim Tae-yeon is in her name. So Kim is her family name, and Tae-yeon is her first name. So Tae-yeon Kim is a correct manner in Western cultures. But actually, so I'm used to calling her Kim Tae-yeon. So because my country brings the family name to the first, and brings the last name, brings the first name to the last. So naming manners are inverted in my country. By the way, I created that adult content, stuff like that. So once access that adult content, so you can scroll down that adult content to the bottom. As long as you can freely read without paying money. So maybe on the way you can find out a picture in which a woman who wears black clothes. So she wears black jacket. She wears a black shirt, and she wears a black pants. So all the clothes she wears are black. So which is a picture of that woman, and that woman is Miss Tae-yeon Kim. So if you have no idea about Korean girls group Girls' Generation, and if you have no idea about one of the members of Girls' Generation, and whose name and the name of that member is Tae-yeon Kim. So I frequently get invited, not invited but invited when I speak out the names of Korean people, because I bring my family name to the first, and I bring my last name my first name to the last when I spend in daily life, so in everyday lives. So I use Richard Cohen is an alias. Richard Cohen is an alias. So I have Japanese name. So I use Japanese name for in my workplace, and in other fields of mine. So I use anyway. I frequently in almost all the cases, or in almost all situations, I use my own Japanese name. But so Richard Gon is my own alias. Anyway, so but by the way, Miss Tae-yeon Kim has a standard beauty. So which means so her face is not rugged. Her face is so plain. So which means her eyes are not concaved. And in the case of beautiful white people, some white beautiful white women have concave eyes. Not so the concave doesn't mean that people have eye sockets and which are concave, so which are holes. But actually eye sockets are holes. But actually, so some white people have rugged faces compared to plain Asian faces. So which is what I'm talking about. And Miss Kim Tae-yeon has, so in which one I used the standardized beauty for explaining her beauty. Anyway, so so picking up a feature of Korean people or other East Asian people. So many beautiful women have such plain faces. So which is the standard of beautiful people in those East Asian countries or in those East Asian cultures, as long as I know. So of course, people have different preferences, including sexual ones. So thinking about anyway, if you are East Asian person, you may have a different predilection. You may have a different predilection from the standard people. But actually, so I think if you have such a predilection, that can be an exception. And if you are a white person if you are a white person who lives in some Western European country who can read, and you can read Japanese language, you may be an exception. Anyway, so this is all. I'm sorry. I'm going to abruptly end this episode, and the title is Tae-yeon Kim has a standardized beauty, doesn't she? Part 2. And the conclusion is she was popular as a member of girls' generation, but she is a great singer by herself. So which is why I created an adult content of hers, and I have created pictures with captions or erotic collages using her as a model or as a protagonist. So which is why I have frequently created I created some adult contents using Miss Tae-yeon Kim as a model or as a protagonist of those adult contents. So that of course without permissions or without approvals or without agreements. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you. I don't know whether this application is going well or not, but actually maybe it's working well. It's working well. Yeah. So anyway, 안녕하세요. 저는 건 리차드라고 합니다. 이번 이야기를 내가 김태현에 대해서 이야기를 하고 싶습니다. 이야기는 김태현님입니다. As always, so my Korean language is really broken, but actually, so this time, anyway, so I forgot to tell you everybody. So anyway, when I was greeting using Korean language, so everybody means 여러분 in Korean language. So 여러분 안녕하세요. 여러분 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 저는 건 리차드라고 합니다. And as always, my Korean language has been broken. Which is what I have just told you. Seconds before. Anyway, this time is Kim Tae-yeon, who is a Korean singer, and I have this is the part 3 or the third time of this is the third time of talking about her. Anyway, it was a sad story about this Korean singer, and she's I think she's really famous at least in her country. But actually, so if you have no idea about her performance as a singer, so of course checking out or investigating or checking out her songs is fine for you. But actually, so if you an old data all the performances of hers are fine for understanding what I'm talking about. So she was a member of Girls' Generation, which is the name of a Korean girls group of singers and dancers, and the members of girls' generations sing songs and dance simultaneously. So in which so they grew famous in the past, and I had been a fan of that girls group of South Korea, not North Korea anyway. So in last two parts, so I have talked about that, so maybe in part one, so I began to talk about that, she has a standard beauty, or she has flat face without concave parts, and so what I was saying, what I was saying is that, so Western people, white people, Caucasian people, white people have concave parts in their eyes. So if you find isocysts concave part, so they aren't what I'm talking about. So isocysts are holes, but actually, so concave. So in other words, so the frontal part. The frontal part of head is so bulged in the case of the faces of white people, or anyway, so the white people have, how should I say, so ragged face. I don't know whether this expression is correct or not. Ragged faces are, I don't know. I don't think ragged faces are suitable words or suitable expressions for the facial features, for the facial feature of white people. But actually, so when it comes to explaining their feature, those ragged faces can be suitable or helpful for understanding what I'm saying. Anyway, but actually, so she doesn't have concave parts in her own eyes. So she has flat face, and she has her beauty is a standard one when it comes to East Asian people. I'm sorry for my clumsy manner of explaining things. And by the way, so one of the reasons is, of course, that if you are frequent listeners of my podcast, you can understand why I'm really bad at speaking English, and that is because I'm a non-native speaker of English language, which is why, so I have some difficulties in explaining stuff in English language, and I have grown tired from speaking stuff about her. Anyway, so the title is wait a moment, please. Tae-yeon Kim has a standardized beauty, doesn't she? Part 3. And conclusion is, she was popular as a member of Girls' Generation, but she's a great singer by herself. The song I'm talking about in this episode is Manhyeonge. How to read these three Korean languages is Manhyeonge, or the meaning of which is if. And so maybe not so maybe. So this has the shortest word for her songs. Anyway, so I don't know all of her songs, but actually, so this is one of the this is a song having one of the songs having the shortest title. Anyway, Manhyeonge, which means if. And maybe I have created some episodes. I have created an episode using this song. So telling you parts of her song without getting permissions of using this song or lyrics from her. So I'm thinking of telling you its meaning, and which means anyway. So I should tell you some lyrics of this song, so that you may be able to understand how beautiful this song is. I don't know whether you can find this song beautiful. So the opening part of this song is 만약에 내가 간다면 내가 간다면 넌 어떻게 생각할까 용기 낼 수 없고 만약에 you know this song is a kind of this song is a quiet song. This song is a kind of quiet song or tranquilized song or tranquilized melody, not memory but melody is what this song features. What this song is featured with. I don't know how to explain this by using English language. Anyway, but feature. This has a verb form. This word has a verb form, but actually. So this to have included as a prominent part of characteristic. This song has feature of being tranquilized or tranquil. This song features a tranquil or quiet or pacified melody. Anyway, so Anyway, this is which is what I like. Which is what I wanted to. Which is what I like. Which is what I wanted to tell you. Anyway, so I'm sorry for my clumsy or stuttering manner of speaking English. Anyway, you may find my explanation really difficult or hard to understand or difficult to comprehend anyway. And its meaning is the meaning of the part I have sung in Korean language is if I got to you, if I get close to you, so how will you think I cannot pluck up my courage? So I'm thinking of pasting the link, so the link or the URL of website on the description column of this episode. So if you'd like to check out which website I cited or which online information I cited, if you'd like to know them, so please take a look at the description column of this episode, and that's it. So the opening part is over. So I'm thinking of the next part is the main part of this song. Wait a moment, please. This part is I think is the main melody of this song. So 내가 바보 같아서 바라볼 수밖에만 없는 건 아마도 외면할지도 모르 내 마음과 또 그래서 더 멀어질 사이가 될까봐 정말 바보 같아서 사랑하지 못하는 건 아마도. By the way, this song is it's sung in this manner. Anyway, so not like typical rock music, but actually this is not of rock music, but actually anyway, this is a quiet song. But wait a moment, please. I don't know how to call this type of song. I think this is the name of the category. Wait a moment, please. No. So what is difficult for me is that I have no idea about about the names of songs anyway. So I'm sorry, I couldn't find out the name of this genre. Anyway, the name of the genre this song would belong to. Wait a moment, please. I thought this was the correct word for the name of this song. I think ballad. I think is a category or the genre this song belongs to. Anyway, I'm sorry for taking your time for long. And actually, so that's it. It's over. So what I'd like you to know in this time is that, or in this episode is that, this song is good and she's cute and she has a her beauty is a standard one. Anyway, so but it's fine to investigate some pieces of online information on the internet, and by using words Tae-yeon Kim or Tae-yeon Kim, Girls' Generation, five words, by using which I think you can find out her pictures. And she has an account of Instagram, so which is by checking out which you can find out her face. Anyway, so there's nothing I have to talk about. I'm thinking of, so I have created this series of episodes. That is because, so if I have actually, so among the members of Girls' Generation, so I had loved is not so good term for expressing so my emotion or my feeling towards that girls group as a fan, or as one of the fans of Girls' Generation. So my favorite member of Girls' Generation had been Yuri-kun, who is a member of Girls' Generation, and I had loved her as a fan of Girls' Generation. But actually, so Miss Kim Tae-yeon is not recently. So anyway, I had found her having her some standardized beauties, which is why, so I recently I came to fond of her, and I have loved her songs. So from which I think is a trigger of my liking, or of my getting fond of her appearance, or her her physical beauties. I'm sorry for my using not formal terms or difficult words. Physical beauty is really difficult term, or not suitable for expressing this gut feeling, or really an emotional feeling. So for example, so if you get horny, or if you get aroused by some beautiful women, for example, if you're a man, you can understand that feeling of related to your own sexual desires. If you grow horny, you can say I'm horny towards those favorite girls, or busty girls, or curvy girls. So you can get aroused in such a manner, or in terms of sexual desires. I have such kind of feeling to Miss Yuri-kun and to Miss Tae-yeon Kim. But actually, so thinking about explaining my feeling, was explaining the background of my getting such an information, such an emotional, such an emotion. Fond of Miss Tae-yeon Kim. So I passed, or I detailed such experiences from her songs to her physical appearances. I came to like them. I came to like, for example, I came to like her songs at first, and then I came to like her physical beauty, or how she looks, or her appearances, or her looks, which is what I came to like, or what I came to love after her songs, which is what I'd like you to know this time. Anyway, so I'm thinking of ending this episode. So before actually ending this episode, I'm going to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. And if you'd like to check out the song that I introduced to you. So please check out the description column of this episode so that you can check out that website or that online information I cited this time for creating this episode. And the title is Tae-yeon Kim has a standardized beauty, doesn't she? Part 3. And the conclusion is she was popular as a member of Girls' Generation, but she's a great singer by herself. The song I'm talking about in this episode is 만약에 if. That's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you. And 안녕히계세요 or 안녕히가세요. Whichever you like, whichever is correct. I don't know. Anyway, so see you. And by the way, so I remember that I forgot to tell you the translation of the main part or the main melody of this song, the title 만약에 or if. So what I'm going to tell you is the rough translation was the outline of the translation of that main part of that song. And anyway, so the rough translation is that I was full and you went away from me. Such a meaning is what's the main part or what's the main melody of that song has as its meaning. Maybe it's working, yeah. So, 안녕하세요. 저는 gon 리차드라고 합니다. 이번 김태현에 대해서 이야기를 하고 싶습니다. Anyway, so hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Back to Live podcast version, and this time, so I forgot to tell you, I forgot to say 여러분 in Korean in translating the meaning of 여러분 in English language or into English language, that means everybody. But actually, I forgot to say 여러분, or I forgot to add 여러분 in the beginning of the Korean greeting phrases or words anyway. So translation is what I do not have to say because I have told you. So hello, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version, and hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon, and this time I'm going to talk about Kim Tae-yeon, which is what I said in Korean language. And this time is also this time is also an episode of the same series, which means so the title. I'm going to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode by doing which you can understand what I'm going to talk about, or so maybe you can if you are frequent listeners of my podcast, you can remember what I have talked about, and if you do not remember what I have talked about, I mean I have created. I think it's a better explanation because So I have created episodes on the same topic or on the same title, which I think is the best explanation. Anyway, so I thought to tell you the title of this episode and including the conclusion. And the title is Tae-yeon Kim has a standardized beauty, doesn't she? Part 4. And the conclusion is she was popular as a member of Girls' Generation, but she's a great singer by herself. And first of all, the meaning of standardized beauty is that Asian people do not have concave parts in their eyes, and I thought it's a concave part in your sense, in your way, but actually, so what I'm saying is that, so in the cases of the facial expressions or facial features of white people, they have concave parts in their eyes, but actually, Asian people have flat faces, so which is in which sense, and, so Miss Tae-yeon Kim has a standardized or standard beauty, but actually, so, and she's also a great singer. And which is why, so maybe I have told you in the past episodes that so I had created, for example, pictures with captions or erotic collages using Miss Tae-yeon Kim as a model of as a model, maybe not maybe as a model. So which means so how to use her was that. so she's a dominatrix, so she's a mistress, and who is keener, or who really loves to torment or torture masochistic men. Such a content, or such an adult content, or such type of adult content is what I create. I'm maybe if you are frequent listeners, I know. So I know that I'm an adult content creator as a side hustle, and if you are frequent listeners of my podcast, you may have. I think you know that not you may have already known, but actually I think you know that I'm an adult content creator. Anyway, so which is why I have used her without any permission from her as a model of the adult contents I create. Which means I have created adult contents using her as a model anyway. So that is because I try to use her fame, or I try to use the popularity of that South Korean singer Miss Tae-yeon Kim anyway. And so, but actually, so in this episode, I'm thinking of telling you not social factors. So I thought the words to explain the words surrounding her situation. Circumstances is a suitable word for it. But actually, social situation. I think social situation is the easiest word for explaining the social situation of that country, or where she is from anyway. I have said anyway many times. But actually, anyway, so she's a famous singer, at least in her own country, but also so she had been really famous, or girl generation. She belongs, which is a girls group she belongs to, and the girl generation had been really popular all over the world. Maybe 10 years. More than 10 years, girl generation had been really famous or popular all over the world, maybe, I think. But actually, so thinking about such a fame she should have. So so capturing, or taking a look at only that aspect of her as a famous celebrity. So maybe most of you may think that really a bright future may be waiting for you, or she can get really a high income, or she can really get really a huge fortunes in the future, not only in this present time, but actually by the way, this recording time is, or this time is, so that's in the middle of October in 2022, in which so I have watched some news about recently one of the hot topics on the broadcast in my country is that Russia. The war, that Slavic war between Ukraine and Russia, which has been prolonged, or which has lasted even to this present time. And Russia did a referendum by which Ukrainian 4 oblasts were ceded to Russia anyway. So anyway, so I'm going to tell you the social situation of South Korea, and I wrote a link of a news, or I wrote a link of an online news about South Korea, and what I'd like to tell you is that South Korea has really a low birth rate, or fertility rate. The fertility rate of South Korea is really low. So really low. So thinking about which, so it's really it can be difficult to say that the future of Miss Tae-yeon Kim is bright. So which means what I'd like you to know this time is that, so please take a look at the description column of this episode, from which I think you can find out find out a link of an online news, and the title of that news is South Korea has again recorded the world's lowest fertility rate, with the number sinking to a new low. So the fertility. So maybe this is anyway. This is a news. This is a news of August 2022. Anyway, so the fertility rate of the according to that online news, or according to that online source of information, the fertility rate of South Korea is 0.81. So what this number indicates is the number of babies, or number of people a woman gives birth to. Is it correct? Yeah. This part, there are many types of fertility rates, or the birth rates, and in this article, what is used, or the type used in this article is the number of children, or the number of kids a woman bears, which is a type of fertility rate used in this online information. And thinking about which, so what I'd like you to know is that, well, how should I say? So I have emphasized that the future of my country. By the way, I live in Japan, and by the way, so I have always emphasized that. So the future of my country is really dark, or dim, or my country, the entire performance, or especially the economic performance of my country, is falling, or it's plunging, or precipitating. Anyway, so however you call the situation of my country, so one of the primary causes is that this country has a declining population, or this country has a lower fertility rate than other developed countries. And by the way, this country has the fertility rate of this country is around 1.3, but actually, so it is like, I think the suitable picture for understanding the situations of those two countries is that, so this country is the economic performance of this country is falling, or the economic performance, or the social welfare, or the future of this country falls every year, and including the birth rate of this country falls every year, and or precipitates or plunges every year, which is why this country has a dark prospect, or dark future. Anyway, the future of this country is really dark, or maybe I think this country is going to fall down to a hell, or down into the darkness, which is the future of this country. But actually, so South Korea is trying to catch up with this country. So the situation is stuff like that. So that is because South Korea has a lower fertility rate, and of course some people say that is because that country is a mandam, which means husbands do not do houseworks, which is why houseworks and other types of works doing outside, or the works those women South Korean women have to do in their workplaces are loaded to those women, or those wives, or those wives, not the husbands. I'm sorry for my clumsy explanation. I'm sorry for my bad manner of explanation. Anyway, so maybe you can understand with my good explanation that if there is a couple of South Korea, and the husband doesn't do any housework, and the wife has to, which is why the wife has to do almost all the houseworks, and both of them work outside, which is why so the woman can't bear or can't get their children, which is said to be one of the causes of the low fertility rate in that country. And another, of course, there are another factors why this country is going to why this country is falling down in terms of economic performance or in terms of other performances of this country. And another one is that, so to start with, generally the characteristic of the general public of the people in this country is really conservative, or thinking, which means the generally conservative characteristic of the people of this country prevents or impedes the innovative ideas, which is another reason why the future of this country is really dark. And South Korea is trying to, or the Republic of Korea is trying to catch up with, or trying to, the Republic of South Korea is acceleratingly falling down, and it is as if, South Korea is, it is like South Korea is trying to beat this country, and it is like South Korea South Korea would like to reach hell faster than or earlier than this country does, which is what this country is going to be. So this country is heading for hell, and South Korea is trying to exceed this country, and South Korea South Korea would like to arrive at such a hell-like situation earlier than this country is going to reach, which is the situation of South Korea. So thinking about which, so of course, so thinking about the popularity of Miss Kim Tae-yeon, so you may find her future really bright or splendid, but actually thinking about the entire situations surrounding her, or thinking about the entire situations of South Korea which surround her, or which surround her. So I don't think you can necessarily say that the future of Miss Kim Tae-yeon is really bright. So which is what I'd like you to know this time. I'm sorry for this difficult story, but this actually, so this is so compared with other episodes of this series. So this part, or this one, part 4, or this episode, part 4, is really difficult, I think. By the way, so at last I'm thinking of telling you things about her account of Instagram. So she often uploads pictures capturing herself, and she's she has many how should I say, splendid clothes. So which is why, so it can, I think, there is a she can be she has an aspect, or she has how should I say, she has a characteristic as a fashion model, maybe. So which is why, so you by taking a look at her account of Instagram, you can find out many pictures of hers wearing beautiful clothes, which is I think, before ending this episode, I'd like to add this fact to you anyway. So if you'd like to check out her account of Instagram, please take a look at the description column of this episode. I'm thinking of writing the link of her account of Instagram onto the description column of this episode. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you. And anyway, so I'm going to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. The title is Tae-yeon Kim has a standardized beauty, doesn't she? Part 4. Then the conclusion is she was popular as a member of the girls' generation, but she's a great singer by herself. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you. By the way, I have mistakenly omitted a word. So I have said that the girls' generation had been popular. Girls' generation was popular more than 10 years. But actually, girls' generation was popular more than 10 years ago, or more than 10 years before this recording time, which is a correct fact, I think. So maybe I think girls' generation has still been popular. I hope so, because I'm one of the fans of girls' generation. But actually, so telling the truth, maybe the prime popularity of that girls group came more than 10 years ago, or 10 years, or 10 some years before this recording time. Anyway, I think this is fine actually for the function or for the condition of this application. And so maybe part five is the latest one, I think. So which means part five is this episode. But actually, so I think anyway, part five is the latest one in this time anyway. So hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Active podcast version. So I was checking out whether this application was working well or working decently or not. And another stuff another thing I was checking was whether this series, what is the latest part number or latest number of the parts in this series, which is what I was checking. And I'm sorry for maybe you could understand what I have talked about. Maybe you couldn't understand what I have just talked about. And anyway, but actually, so you do not have to understand what I have just talked about anyway. So this part is not important anyway. So and I have told you the greeting phrases, and this time, so I should tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. So the title is Tae-yeon Kim has a standardized beauty, doesn't she? Part 5. So this is a name. The title is the name of this series anyway. So which is right. And so I was thinking whether part 5 is fine to. It's fine to create, or whether it was fine to, if there is another part five, I have forgot. So which means I have to create the part 6 is what I have to create anyway. So but actually I checked out I checked out the past part of this series, which means the name of this series, the name of the series is Tae-yeon Kim has a standardized beauty, doesn't she? And so the part 4 was the latest one, which is why part 5 is the correct one to create, and which is, and I understood so which is why I decided to create part 5 anyway. And so there's nothing to talk about her beauty, because she has so in past episodes, she is beautiful, and she doesn't have concave eyes. I think it's a concave, but actually, her face is not ragged. Her face is not ragged, and in the case of white people, they have ragged faces, which means they have so in the case of the eyes, and their eyes are located in the concave part. Their eyes are located in the concave part on the face. But actually, in the case of East Asian people, their faces are flat, and there's no concave part, no convex part, or there's no, and her eyes are not located in concave parts anyway. So I have mingled up with the use of concave and concave, but actually both of them are the same, and concave is better for me. And which is why, so I have told you concave, but actually, both of them are the same. And how should I say? And this time is, so what I'm going to talk about is the history of Korea, or the history of Korean Peninsula is what I'm going to talk about anyway. So but actually, this is a cultural episode, and what I'm going to create is a brief episode in this case. So which is fine. So I don't tell you the details of Korean history anyway. So the conclusion is the history of Korea is complicated, but I think her ancestry is Korean. So what I'd like to tell you with this conclusion is that so there's an era of three kingdoms, and which means so there are many so for example the famous era of three kingdoms is China one, what Chinese one, which means so there are three huge countries in the continental China. Anyway, in the Chinese continent. Anyway, so whatever words you use. Anyway, so that is, I think that is the most famous era, or that is the most famous story of the era comprising three kingdoms. Anyway, and in the case of the era of three kingdoms in Korean Peninsula. So there is such an era, and so that was that era ended in the end of seventh century. In the end of seventh century, the era of three kingdoms ended in the case of Korean Peninsula, and the northern one was Goguryeo, and there are two southern countries, and one which is Shilla, which was located in the southeast part of Korean Peninsula, and Kudara was I'm a Japanese person, which is why so I know that name, but actually so using Korean language that's Beche, that's Beche. So Korean Peninsula, not the Korean Peninsula, but Korean people may find the name of that country Beche, or Peche, but actually so why I used that word Kudara is that according to the history, and at least so Japanese people also learn the history of the continent, including that peninsula, and so there's the name of that country named Beche, and so we find some of us finds the name of that country Kudara, or so reading the Chinese characters of that country, so that becomes Kyakusai in the manner of Japanese language, in the reading manner of Japanese language. The name of the country becomes Kyakusai, but actually so according to the investigation of the history anyway, but actually so the name is the pronunciation of the country is said to be, or has been said to be Kudara, so which is why so we learn the name of the country as Kudara. And but actually using Korean language, so reading the Chinese characters in the reading manner of Korean language, that becomes Peche. So which is why anyways, but actually it's difficult anyway. So maybe she's, and coming back to the main track of this episode, which means Miss Tae-yeon Kim. So she's from Cheonju City of wait a moment please. Maybe the name of the region is Chollabutto. So Chollabutto is located in wait a moment please. Chollabutto is located in the southwestern part of Korean Peninsula, and which is why so and Kudara was the Peche had been located in the southwestern part of Korean Peninsula. And finally anyway, so coming back to that seventh century, was coming back to the era of that seventh century. So finally so it was Shilla which won among those three kingdoms. And anyway, so Shilla united or unified Korean Peninsula. Anyway, so which means so Shilla beat So Betche or Clara at first, and after which Sheila beat Koguryo, and Sheila had a communication, or Sheila had a communication with China, and Sheila used the force of the continental China, and which was one of the reasons why Sheila could fight against those two countries, and that Sheila could beat the other two countries, and so in the case of geographic sites, Koguryo has the largest area, but actually, Sheila could, beat Koguryo, and according to the history, so, Koguryo had been said to be a country of nomadic people, and there are many nomadic peoples in the northern part of Chinese continent, or continental China, and anyway, but actually, so and Koguryo was said to be one of them, and but actually, so in the case of Kudara, which was located in the southwestern part of Korean Peninsula, and Kudara and Betche and Shilla had been said to have used the same language, and it was they used similar languages according to the investigation of the Korean history. I mean, anyway, so considering which, so the ancestors of Miss Kim Tae-yeon maybe might have been Korean people. Because so in the case of northern people, if there are some people who came from northern part of Korean Peninsula, which is which is the present North Korea anyway. But actually, some people have come from. I mean, some ancestors of this present South Korean have come from northern part of Korean Peninsula, and anyway, there are some people having the ancestries in the northern part of Korean Peninsula. But actually, so in their cases, they might be descendants, or they might be the descendants of those nomadic people. But actually, and anyway, but actually, in the case of Miss Kim Tae-yeon, so considering the facts that so. And Kudara or Betche and Sheila used similar languages. Both of them can be the same people, or the same ethnic people. And in the case of my country, and my country had a communication in that ancient time with Kudara, or the southwestern country. And but actually, Betche was beat by Sheila, and Japan sent some soldiers for helping Betche, but actually Japanese soldiers had been beat by Sheila, and which is why so my country stopped intervening in the business of Korean Peninsula. And there's such a story, by the way. And so anyway, I think so considering which I think Miss Kim Tae-yeon is a descendant of the ancient Korean people, which is what I'd like you to know this time. And so if you ask me whether that is important or not, so there is nothing important in this episode. So, but actually, if you have thought of such a thing, so please understand that so Miss Kim Tae-yeon is from Chorabuto. I don't know the ancestor of Miss Kim Tae-yeon, which means there are many grandparents or great grandparents, but actually tracing her ancestry back to really a distant past. I don't know whether this expression is correct or not, but actually, if you trace her ancestry back to the time of, for example, the 7th century. So the ancestors, her ancestors, one of or some of her ancestors who had lived at that time might have been from for example, Koguryo or the northern part of Korean peninsula. Or still another possibility is that her ancestors had come from continental China anyway. So there are many possibilities. And in the case of my country, maybe some Japanese people, some local Japanese people must have ancestors who had come from continental China, or nomadic people, or nomadic regions, or Korean peninsula. Which is how people have communicated including in the forms of marriages. Which is why, so this present ethnic group, this type of, or these ethnic groups had been created. So which is what I think. So there is nothing important, but actually, so in the case of Miss Kim Tae-yeon, she must have the ancestry of South Korean anyway. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you.